The most valuable stock is Tesla, which is worth 3.5% of all stocks. Do you just want to talk about how that stock has changed this week, what it means to you, how you've built this, and where you think it can go? As of 2019, Tesla has been showing up in our study product. This is because the company has a hidden asset in the form of its AI, intellectual property, and now, of course, its own infrastructure. But we think the company is worth more than it is because most people see it as a car company and look at its present earnings and margins. But we all know that there are a lot of new projects going on, whether they are about robotaxis or robots. Now there's the political side, which you guys talked about very well, and I think it will only help Tesla. Tom, do good. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Hi, this is Tom Lee from Fundstrat. I was just comparing Nvidia and Apple based on their market capitalization. Right now, they are tied. Nvidia will make about a third as much money as AMD next year and about half as much net income. This means that Nvidia stock is more expensive, but it's growing so much faster. First, there's no new reason to buy a stock because it's in the Dow in the short term. History shows that's not a good reason to buy. The Dow doesn't hold a lot of value. It's mostly about confirming what part it plays in the new tech economy, which we kind of knew already. Again, I don't think the news is a reason to sell. In fact, I think it might be a reason to buy because Intel gave up. At this point though, it looks like the Dow is just trying to stay valuable. Okay, good stuff. Let's take a look at Nvidia stock this morning. Piper Sandler called the stock a top large-cap pick and said it was a must-own for the Blackwell chips ramp-up. The stock was rated as overweight by the broking and has a price goal of $175. It costs $148.07 now. Guys, you talked about some of the hyperscalers. Nvidia has some good things to say. One is Piper's note, which makes it a great choice. Take a look at where NVLink is going. The computing mesh is going to, make what looks like a great processor called a GPU bigger. We are now going to have hundreds of GPUs that will work together. One of the most interesting problems we're currently working on is inference time scaling. Most of the problems we're facing in computing have to do with making tokens very quickly because, as you said, things are self-reflecting. You'll be doing things like tree search, chain of thought, and some simulation in your head while you think about your choices. You'll be telling yourself what to write and coming up with ideas on your own, but you should still be able to reply in a second. Of course, you can only do that if your delay is very low. The data center is still working on making high-throughput tokens because the goal is to keep prices low and throughput high so that the business can make money. In other words, low latency and high throughput are two important things about a plant that don't go together. We need to come up with something new in order to make something that is truly great at both. We can really do that with NVLink. Now, you have a simulated GPU with a huge number of FLOPs because you need it for context. You also need a lot of working memory and a huge amount of bandwidth for making tokens at the same time. I guess at the same time that everyone is making the models, they are also pretty much perfecting everything. David on my team, for example, looked at data from the last 18 months or so and found that the price of 1 million tokens going into a GPT-4 model has dropped by about 240 times. That side is also getting a lot of optimization and compression done, and that's just in our layer. One thing we care a lot about is, of course, how well our software works and how stable our stack is. Some individuals forget that even though CUDA is a strong base, everything that comes after it can change. Being able to build something on top of a base that is changing is hard, let alone making something interesting. In just the last year, CUDA has helped us make so many changes so fast. We just did some benchmarking and found that since Llama first came out, we've made Hopper 5 times faster without changing the algorithm or the layer on top. With traditional computing methods, it's not possible to make a 5-factor improvement in 1 year. But with accelerated computing and this co-design technique, we can come up with all sorts of new things. How much do your biggest users think about the fact that their infrastructure could be used for both large-scale training and inference? Well, these days infrastructure is broken up into smaller pieces. Just now, Sam told me that he had taken Volta out of service. They have Pascals, Amperes, and different Blackwell setups on the way. Some of it is better for cooling with air, and some are better for cooling with liquid. All of this means that your services will need to make the most of it. The good thing about Nvidia AI is that the system you build today for training will work great tomorrow for inference. I think that most of ChatGPT is based on the same kinds of systems that were just trained. That is, you can draw conclusions from it if you can train on it. There will be a lot of technology left behind that will be very helpful for inference. You're sure that you can use that return on investment to build new structures that will help you grow even more, and you know that you'll be leaving something useful behind. The algorithm will be improved by Nvidia AI and the rest of the environment. This will make the rest of your infrastructure 5 times better in just 1 year. That method will always be used. People who work on infrastructure know that it will be useful for training and reasoning in the future, even though it was built for training today. Multi-scale inference will be used. First, it's helpful to have a bigger model to distill from before you start with a smaller one. You will still make these amazing frontier models that will be used for groundbreaking work, making fake data, and teaching smaller models by reducing them down to smaller models. You can do a lot of different things. From big models to little models, you'll get there in the end. The small models will work pretty well. Not as well when applied to other situations, but still very well. They will be very good at certain jobs, and we'll see superhuman performance in very small, specialized models. Like software today, I think we'll see a lot of different model sizes. A lot of the ways that AI makes it easier to make new apps are groundbreaking, but most things about computers have stayed the same. For instance, it's very expensive to keep software up to date, and once you make it,